Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/AmITheDevil for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the posts, giving you my own opinion, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for getting something out of my friend's girlfriend's purse? Obligatory title sounds bad, but hear me out. This all happened several years ago, and sometimes my friends still bring up this incident from time to time, so I wonder if I'm an asshole or if they're overreacting. I, 30 male, met my friend, Purse Girl, 27 female, couldn't even give her an actual name, huh? Through her boyfriend, who I had known for several years by that point. When he first introduced Purse Girl to our friend group, I immediately took a disliking to her because I always felt she was trying too hard. She seemed like a typical, not like other girls girl, if you catch my drift. She never put too much effort into makeup or fashion, and the purses she would carry around were always raggedy and/or had some nerdy shit printed on it. When my girlfriend and I hang out with Purse Girl and my friend, I usually imagine my friend and I hanging out while Purse Girl and my girlfriend would do their own thing. But that never really happened because Purse Girl claimed to relate more with her boyfriend and me due to her interests. She also has some weird boundary issues because she grew up in an abusive household and put up some really strong walls around herself and her belongings. One night, several years ago, we were having dinner at a restaurant and Purse Girl had her purse on the table. It was nearing time to leave, so I went through her purse and grabbed her car keys, intending to give them to her when it was time to go. I figured since the purse was all beat up and raggedy anyway, she probably doesn't really protect or care for it the way someone who owned a designer brand purse would. Unfortunately, I had forgotten that I took her keys, so when she started looking through her purse, she panicked, thinking she lost her keys. I thought it was kind of funny seeing her freak out like that, so I kept the keys while she frantically searched for them in her purse. When I gave them back to her and revealed I had them the whole time, I expected us all to get a laugh out of it because, come on, that's pretty funny. Unfortunately, she snapped and yelled at me for going through her things and for prolonging her stress for thinking she lost the keys. Eventually, she got over it, but a while after this incident, it happened again. We were at her apartment to watch a movie. She had the DVD in her purse. And I again figured, since we would be watching the movie anyway, that I'd just grab the DVD out of her purse to save time and trouble. Again, she freaked out and this time threatened to ban me from coming to her and my friend's place ever again. I don't think I'm the asshole. I never had any intention of stealing anything from her purse, but she claims that going through her things violates her boundaries. I'm not sure if I agree because I was grabbing items out of her purse that we all ended up needing to use anyway. This guy fucking sucks. Like, there's no beating around the bush. Like, from the start, we have the title sounds bad, but hear me out, then says something that's somehow worse than what I was expecting from the title. Like, I was thinking you accidentally went through your friend's purse once, made a mistake, didn't think it was that big of a deal, and was coming to Reddit for it, which you would still be the asshole for. But oh no, you couldn't even give her an actual name, just called her Purse Girl, and on top of that, because she has a raggedy purse with nerd shit on there, it doesn't mean that she's allowed to have boundaries or privacy? Then when it comes to her having boundaries or privacy, that's apparently weird, and she has boundary issues because she grew up in an abusive household and put up some strong walls around herself and her belongings, like not liking people going through her fucking purse. Dude, how would you feel if I reached into your back pocket and took your wallet out and started going through it? Or if I took your car keys? How would you feel about that? Ha, dude, it's so funny because, like, I took your keys and I had them the whole time while you were freaking out that you had no way to get home. Haha, isn't that so funny? And I just watched you for like a couple minutes knowing that I had your keys while you panicked. Isn't that so funny? That's the energy you give off. So I recorded that as kind of like this is a over-exaggeration of what this kind of person is. Yeah, I checked the comments. User Millie30 comments, Yep, you're the asshole. I love how you do a long setup describing why you believe she's unlikable and carries an ugly purse, which then justifies you rifling through said ugly purse. No matter how the purse looks or how little you like her purse is a personal area that you shouldn't be rooting through. And the fact that you were laughing alone at how funny it was shows you even your friends think you were being a jerk. The OP responds, "It was funny though! Like, how if you lose something and you find it somewhere really obvious, you'd laugh it off like, wow! I was looking for it for so long, yet it was here all along." Millie30 responds, "If you're the only one laughing, it's not funny. You're just an asshole." Also, buddy, that analogy doesn't work because she didn't misplace her keys, you took them out of her fucking purse. There's more. User believe in comments. You're the asshole, not even a difficult call. Don't go through other people's stuff without permission. The fact you don't see that it's not okay is somewhat worrying. OP responds, "I grew up with siblings and we all went through each other's things without permission. I figured she reacted this way because she's an only child, but I really don't see anything wrong with it. I wasn't trying to steal or anything." Buddy, they don't know that. Also, that comparison doesn't work because they're not your fucking siblings. They don't have that kind of relationship with you. And finally, user so much more ego comments, "You're the asshole. Why did you need to get her keys or the DVD out for her? Or was it that you wanted to go through her things? Don't touch other people's things without permission." OP responds, "I just didn't really see a problem with it, ? I didn't do it for her, I just did it because we needed the keys and the DVD at some point in the near future. I could care less what's actually in the purse." So much more ego responds further, "But you didn't give her the keys when they were needed. You took them and then sat by chuckling while she frantically tried to find them. That's an asshole thing to do. You're coming off as just a creep. And you're being rude as hell, man. Good God. Yeah, because you don't have a designer bag, you're just not entitled to privacy of your possessions. Anyway, let me go through your purse so I can take your keys out and then hide them from you. But hey, it's okay because I had siblings growing up and you're just an abused only child, so this is a you problem." What a fucking goblin. Cross posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for taking away my daughter's driving privileges after she got into 2 accidents? I'm in my mid-40s and have a daughter, 21 in college for computer science, and a son, 23, who still lives with me. My son recently bought a truck. I and my parents gifted him part of the funds, but he bought it himself since he's learning HVAC and needs something practical. My daughter has been using a 2010 Corolla we had because she said she didn't really want a new car at the time, and after graduating, might move to New York City and not need one as she did her internship there. She's been in 2 accidents with it. The first time she came home with damage and said she found it like that when it was parked. The police registered it as a hit and run. Then recently, she got rear-ended and the driver fled according to her. While technically it wasn't her fault, I honestly think she might have stopped suddenly or backed into something herself and didn't admit it. Statistically, it seems suspicious she drives way less than I do and I haven't had an accident in years. Because of this, I decided to take away her car privileges for now. She's 21. My son still drives his truck because he hasn't had any accidents recently. Woo. Oh, that's a bit of a slip there, buddy. My son still drives his truck because he hasn't had any accidents recently, and I feel he'll need it for work. My daughter is upset and says it's unfair she's being treated differently, but I feel like this is about responsibility and safety. She says she does not text and drive, but she's always on her phone compared to my son and always texting and calling people, out with friends at night, unlike my son. If she's not being truthful, I could get in trouble for insurance fraud. Am I the asshole here? Dude, the police already determined it was a hit and run. Like, you're fine on that aspect. This whole post literally boils down to, my son is so great, we bought him a truck because he's an HVAC and he needs something practical. He hasn't been in any accidents recently, but He still needs it for work, and I just feel like he's more responsible. My daughter, on the other hand, I have no proof she's done something, but I just feel like she's responsible, despite the police saying it was a hit and run and it's been registered as so. And she's just always on her phone, so like it has to be her fault or something, unlike my son. I mean, I haven't been in an accident in years, so like statistically it just seems suspicious because I drive way less than she's been in 2 accidents. Unlike my son, who hasn't had any accidents recently. Like, could you not show your biases like any stronger than they currently are? Like, get a dash cam for her or something if you're that concerned about it. Like, do you have any other reasons to assume that your daughter's lying to you besides your just gut feeling? I mean, one of them she was rear-ended in, the one that you took her car away for. And your response was to think of any reason why it might actually be her fault and she's just not admitting it. I get the feeling that in a couple of years from now, Opie's gonna be posting along the lines of, "My daughter won't talk to me anymore because she got into a few accidents as a teenager, and I took away her car because I was fearful for her safety." And like, this is the actual context and backstory, and also the constant comparison between her and the golden child brother. Like, do you even like your daughter? Because sure as hell doesn't sound like it. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend to stop picking up earthworms in front of my friends? There is literally no way of writing this without it sounding weird, but there you go. My girlfriend, 26 female, and I, 27 male, have been dating for 3 months. She's super cool and it's all going really well. So I thought it was time to introduce her to my friends from school back home. Now, some things to note about my girlfriend. She's quite petite, probably about 5 foot, and she dresses like, I quote, a kids' TV presenter. She also gets very excited about things very easily. This means that she often gets read as being a lot younger than she actually is, which can be annoying, but is also hilarious, as she's probably the most intelligent person I've ever met. It's an odd contradiction, but I think it's really cute. When we got to my hometown, we decided to meet my friends at a local park which has a lake and a set of gardens. It had been raining the day before and the ground was still pretty wet, but we planned on walking around the lake with my friends because we all live life on the edge. We got there and everyone seemed to like my girlfriend and they all got on well. It changed when she noticed that there were lots of earthworms that had gotten themselves stranded on the wet pavement. My girlfriend is a complete softie when it comes to worms and snails, and she always saves them whenever she sees them. It's a personality quirk. She has a folder of photos on her phone of all the worms and snail friends she makes, and she carries a bottle of hand sanitizer with her at all times, just in case. So as soon as she realized that there were worms that needed saving, she got right to work, and just knelt down right there on the ground in front of my friends and started picking up the worms, literally talking to them and saying stuff like, "I wish I were kidding. Let's sort you out. You've got yourself into a real situation here." My friends all started laughing then, and I honestly couldn't tell if they were laughing with or at her, so I said to her, "Hey, do you think you could give the worm stuff a rest?" And she just said, "Just let me pick up a couple more." To which I said, "Let's pay attention to my human friends, not your worm ones, like adults do." And that made her stop. She looked kind of embarrassed and I felt bad. And then all my friends told her that we could have a worm rescuing session if she wanted, but she seemed reluctant. Oh, god damn my heart. My friends all told me later that they really liked her and they thought the worm thing was cute, but she stopped showing me photos of the little critters on her phone now, and I'm worried I was a total asshole and need to apologize. You haven't apologized yet? The reason I'm not sure I'm the asshole is that I told her to stop because I was worried my friends were laughing at her. So I said it to protect her, not shame her. Am I the asshole? No, dude, you said it to protect you. That's what you did. You were more concerned that if they were laughing at her, they were also by proxy laughing at you. Yeah, they probably laughed at first, but they also probably found it endearing, which is why they offered to join in because it meant something to her. Or at least it did, because this kind of stuff can ruin someone's drive to be a kind soul. Considering this was 6 years ago, there are 2 options that I see probably happened. Judging by the asshole rating on r/AmITheAsshole and the fact that OP at least seemed to want to be listening, either he actually did sit down and properly discuss with her that he fucked up and didn't mean to do that and wants to try to rebuild things, or she left and walked away and found someone who enjoys her quirks and all and isn't embarrassed to be around her. Because what you communicated to her by telling her to put the worm thing to rest and give the human friend some attention is that you're embarrassed by her antics, that you find her embarrassing. Shout out to all the worm and snail girls out there that are 5 feet tall and have a kind soul. Don't change. Keep being you. Don't forget the Oz Cup is on sale right now, and right now GamerSubs is also doing 20% off, so if you use code Oz at checkout, you get 20% off of the Oz Cup, plus the t-shirts if you want that. This is lasting until the 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, link in the description. Plus, every purchase made using code Oz actually directly supports the channel, so you should do that. It'd be super cool. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for reporting a girl to her school for buying my underage daughter energy drinks? My daughter, 14 female, is not allowed to have energy drinks, which she knows. You have to be 16 to buy them where I live. She went over to her friend's, also 14 female's, house. Her friend's older sister, 17 female, who goes to the same school as them but is in the 6th form building, has sort of taken her sister and her friend group under her wing. It's never been a problem. If she and her 6th form friends see them, they'll talk to them and sometimes help them with their homework and stuff, which is kind. So I always thought her old sister was trustworthy, until my daughter went over to her house a week ago. Apparently, my daughter and her friend wanted to go to the shop to get some things, and the sister went with them because it's a rough neighborhood. When they got to the shop, my daughter apparently asked her sister to get her energy drinks, saying I let her drink them, and without confirming, the sister got it for her. When she got home, I found one of them in her bag, and asked her how she even bought them underage, and she told me this story. The next day, I reported to the school this incident, and they said they'll talk to her. They fed back to me that because it was off-school property, they can't suspend her or anything, but they warned her not to do that again or they'll take it further. My daughter's father and I split custody, and my daughter told him about this, and he's contacted me saying I was massively overreacting, and it's just an energy drink. And I've humiliated my daughter and shouldn't be causing issues between her and her friends' families. Am I really in the wrong here? So for me personally, and I found some comments who agree with my kind of mentality here, I think that overreacting like this is a really bad way to approach parenting because you teach your kids that you're not a safe place to have any kind of discussion with, and when something more serious down the line happens, they're more likely to hide it from you because if your reaction to an energy drink was this, what's going to happen when something serious actually occurs? User the Agonyot, who is a frequent contributor to r/AmITheDevil and who is the cross-poster of this post, comments, OP says she punished her daughter for lying as well, but still went nuclear on daughter's friend's older sister by reporting her to the school because by OP's logic, I went to the school as I thought they'd be the best people to talk with her and educate her on why buying illegal things for minors isn't okay. You don't need to have sympathy for my daughter, she's fine. On Friday, the girl spoke to her and wasn't upset at anyone about it. Also, going by OP's use of 6th form, she's in the UK or a Commonwealth country, so there's no countrywide law, as far as I can tell, banning the sale of energy drinks to under 16s, though some major stores have enacted their own policies limiting/barring sales of energy drinks to under 16s. Additionally, comments from Homework Visual 128. I personally want my child to feel comfortable talking to me about their issues, and if they get in trouble, like real trouble with alcohol or drugs, I want them to know I am a safe space to get help and support from. Blowing up at them over an energy drink will only show them that they can't rely on me to be understanding and lead them to hide more from me. User Sun on the Inside comments, that's what I wanted to say. Not wanting your kid at that age to get into something like that and having reasonable consequences, that's parenting. Blowing the fuck up, involving other people, humiliating your kid in school and with her peers? That just makes your kid distrustful. and teaches her to be sneakier, and pretty much ensures your kid will do riskier, stupid things and not ask her parents for help or trust them. If they flip their lid over a Monster can, what's going to happen when they're at a party where one of the kids sneaks some alcohol, they get too drunk, and they don't feel safe anymore? Soft content warning for what's coming up next, so please be warned, and if you need to, double tap your screen or press the arrow key twice. Ask me how I know. One of my young relatives got non-consensually teenage pregnant this way, for one, and my parents' horrible response to my preteen depression and anxiety meant I hid much more serious and even dangerous mental health struggles in my teens. Now, time for some Oz real talk here, which this actually genuinely might make the PR team squirm for gamer subs. Caffeine is a stimulant. It's a substance that should be had within moderation. I partner with gamer subs because I specifically like their brand of caffeine and what they do. However, I'm not going to tell you that it's safe to drink in large quantities. In fact, moderation is key. While I am happy that gamer subs has caffeine-free formulas, that's not the main thing they sell. They sell caffeine. They are an energy drink company. And caffeine can be dangerous in large quantities. It has numerous health risks. While it does have its own slew of benefits, in large quantities, it can be very dangerous. So please, consume responsibly, be smart about it, and if you catch your daughter drinking an energy drink that was provided to her by her best friend's sister, don't go to the school about it. That's narc behavior. You're going to cause her to be alienated and bullied for having strict parents. That's a big mistake. Cross-posted from r/in-laws. My daughter-in-law convinced my son to move overseas. My son is in the army, and his contract is coming to an end soon. Last time my son and his wife were home, they were talking about what comes next. They were talking about requesting the base that's only 2 hours from us. My family and my daughter-in-law's family all live in the same area. They originally wanted to do that to be closer because daughter-in-law's siblings were having their first baby soon. One of my daughters will be engaged soon, my other will graduate soon, and they missed being around everyone they love. However, during these conversations, daughter-in-law would make offhand comments about moving farther away than where they do live now. Like, but if we wind up getting put farther away, that'll be okay too. And even, I wouldn't be mad if we got put somewhere cool like Europe. That should have told me then. After they went home, my son went to put in his request for his next duty station. His sister called him the day before, and he apparently still planned on requesting close to home. Last week, my son got his orders to where they'll live for the next 3 years. And guess what? Somewhere cool like Europe. My son called me 3 days ago to inform me that they would be moving to Germany in the fall. He sounded heartbroken. He says his request for home got denied and Germany wasn't his choice. My daughter FaceTimed daughter-in-law and was talking to her about it. Daughter-in-law says they're getting excited, but were shocked and disappointed at first. But funny enough, daughter-in-law is already several lessons deep into learning German. Daughter-in-law has gone on to say that this is the perfect time for them to move overseas because they're young and not planning on kids. But I just don't understand how things are so perfect if this isn't what she wanted. Son has also talked about how they would visit home every Christmas, but daughter-in-law has started talking about how she's excited to see their Christmas traditions and such. So now, I'm starting to worry that she'll not want to visit home. And unfortunately, it's her way or the highway much of the time. Another thing that's been upsetting is hearing all about how daughter-in-law's family plans to visit them in Europe, especially when they know that it would be extremely difficult for us to afford visiting them. Not to mention, I absolutely hate flying. Now my daughter-in-law is posting TikTok after TikTok preparing to move to Germany. We're so excited to move to Germany, learning German dessert recipes before we move to Germany, just over and over again. And it's starting to feel like it's being rubbed in. Listen, I understand that they're grown and can do whatever they want, but my son didn't want to move overseas, and up until now, talked about how much he didn't want to move overseas. And no matter how old my kids get, going 3 years without seeing them and hearing from them minimally due to time change will always be something I don't want. Edit, lots of people aren't fully understanding, so here's more info. When moving duty stations, you can put in up to 3 of your top requests. If there's an opening in one of those 3 spots, you'll be sent there. That, of course, is also dependent on rank and time and whatnot. My son was given the option to request 3 duty stations. I believe daughter-in-law convinced him to put Germany on his request list because I don't find it coincidental for her to have been fantasizing about Germany ever since he joined. And I especially don't think she accidentally started German lessons as soon as requests became a topic of discussion. That is why I believe she convinced him. Yes, I'm aware he's a grown man and didn't have to put it down, but understand that he talked often about not wanting to be far away, was devastated when sharing the news of their new duty station, and there's a history of her way or the highway, like I mentioned. So, what do y'all think the over-under is on OP not realizing that her son actually just wants to get away from this and is purposely acting all heartbroken over this? Because we kind of have 2 scenarios. Either they did put Germany as one of the bases they want to move to, according to the way OP explained it, and they're just explaining that they're heartbroken, obviously, because they're going so far away, when in actuality, this is what both of them want. Or, maybe they did put down bases that would be close by and wouldn't require major travel, but still got assigned Germany. And right now, you just have a daughter-in-law trying to make the best of the situation, trying to make it as fun as possible. After all, it's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime experience for a lot of Americans to live in a different country for a little bit. So, may as well make the best of it. Although, judging by the way that she talks about daughter-in-law, there is a ton of resentment at play here. Hell, she actually has one hell of a post history where she digs into the daughter-in-law quite often. One of the highlights is how the daughter-in-law lost a lot of weight, and it's her fault that her daughters are now jealous of daughter-in-law. And when this post history was brought up by the looks of it, the posts were then purged. Definitely brings a lot of questions into play here about how she really feels about the daughter-in-law, and how much of the comments about how it's her way or the highway are true, and maybe it's more along the fact that she's been told no and definitely didn't like it. Or perhaps even put up boundaries that OP didn't like. I've got no idea. But also, if any of you are in the military and have maybe some additional input on essentially being relocated to a new base and how that whole system works, I'd be very interested in finding out how honest or how informed OP actually is on this circumstance. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Would I be the asshole for telling my parents they're terrible parents for not helping me during the hardest time in my life? I, 27 female, have grown up in a family that some would call transactional. My parents aren't as loving as I've noticed other parents are towards their kids, and they're always going through life checking boxes. Go to college, get a job, get married, have kids, etc. My parents both got their masters, had high-paying jobs, and are well off. They're now retired with pensions, living on a farm they bought in cash and doing well. Millionaires. 3 years ago, I was separating from my soon-to-be ex-husband, amicably, who tragically passed in a motorcycle accident shortly after we began our divorce proceedings. He was 27, he had no life insurance, no savings, still living together, and everything tied together still. After the funeral, I called our lawyer's office to notify them of his passing and see what needed to be done moving forward. They informed me that because of the timing of his passing and not all of the divorce paperwork had been filed, that it was null and void. From a legal standpoint, I became a widow at 24. I live in Arizona where everything is community property, but this didn't really matter anyways because everything was still jointly in our names. I had already been looking for a new, higher-paying job when we began separating, but had yet to find anything. He made about 60% of the income, and the total bills exceeded what I made. I was underwater with the sudden change in having to handle everything on my own. I'm very lucky I didn't lose my house or car, but for the past 3 years, I've been barely making it. I was able to find a higher-paying job, but things have still been tight. My credit is destroyed. I had to use credit cards to pay for groceries and gas. Bankruptcy was not an option because my ex and I had a rental property together that had zero equity and wouldn't sell. My parents helped me a bit after me begging them to let me use the remaining college fund they had saved for me that I never used to stay afloat. They initially pushed back when I asked for help because they're paying so much money for my sister's vet school, which they saved for. But after talking with their financial advisor, they found the money. For context, this was the first time in my life I ever asked them for help. Prior to this situation, I had really good credit, smart financially, figured out how to get into investment properties, etc. I took a lot of pride in being independent so young and figuring it out on my own. Fast forward to now, 3 years later, and I'm still barely making things work. I have a lawsuit for debt. My parents know how much I'm struggling and give me advice on what to do, but unfortunately, I'm in a unique situation that doesn't have an easy out. I'm still being eaten alive by debt, but I don't have active plans to ask them for money. I'm just hurt. So would I be the asshole for telling my parents they're terrible parents for letting me struggle for years with this alone and not helping me when they're so financially well off? So 2 years ago, for me, when I was dealing with all the legal stuff coming up and I had a lot of just financial difficulties I had to navigate, I downsized. I made sacrifices and I put my ego aside and I got rid of a vehicle, a car, that I was absolutely head over heels for, that I enjoyed driving. I enjoyed everything about it. And I got rid of it. I didn't feel comfortable paying a monthly payment for a car like that while also needing help from my audience. So I downsized. I made sacrifices. I put my ego away and I did what needed to be done. Downsizing sucks, and it is something where it is a massive hit to your ego and it feels like you're moving back in life. But sometimes that is the smart financial decision that you can make to help make things easier so you can rebuild faster. I bring this up because OP is claiming to be this financial expert or financial guru or smart financially when they're not. And the thing is, OP's parents did help her. They did give her some help. They found money with their financial advisor, which, by the way, that's literally his job, is to figure out where they can pull money from to help you. So yeah, they did find the money. And it also sounds like they did help you. But that wasn't enough. It's been 3 years, you never asked them for money, but you're holding resentment because they never bailed you out. You had numerous opportunities to downsize. You could have built a savings account. I mean, you claim to be smart financially, but I don't see any smart financial decisions. I see a lot of rapid ones, but not smart ones. And this is coming from someone who made a lot of really dumb financial decisions in their early 20s and is only just now being able to walk away from them. To me, it sounds like OP just wants her parents to subsidize her debts and call it good on that. For 3 years, you struggled while having 2 houses. And it sounds like you're blaming your parents for this struggle, that you're putting the onus onto them, that because they were well off financially, that they should have seen that you were struggling despite you not asking for help and just helped you. But I also do have my biases here, and I'm wondering if I'm missing anything, if I'm overlooking anything, or help. Maybe I'm bitter because I had to make the tough decision to downsize, and OP hasn't, and maybe that's clouding my judgment. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Oh boy, the outro! So right now, GamerSupps is doing a 20% off for all partner codes, up until the 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hey, you know what you could do? You could use code OZ at checkout and get the cup and the shirt for 20% off. Wouldn't that be super cool? Oh, and I was serious, by the way, about if we sold 5,000 cups that I would get my hair styled like the cup. So hey, there's that. Dyed and everything.